Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the rideshare panel. Today we're looking at just exactly how much you earn as an Instacart shopper. So I'm going to go into everything from kind of a breakdown of earnings shopping on the Instacart platform, and then I'm going to look at some of the updates that have recently been made to that payout model because there was some issues with transparency and tipping, and most of those have been resolved. The system is now, in my opinion, a lot better for shoppers, so I do want to cover all of that stuff. And then I want to look at my personal strategy as an Instacart shopper because Instacart for me is part of a bigger goal to kind of start some side businesses. So it really helps for me to have the supplemental income, but I have to approach it right because if I'm just taking orders all the time, then I won't, be able to have time to work on my business. And if I'm taking orders that aren't paying out that much for me, then it really doesn't help as supplemental income. So I have to, kind of pick the right strategy to make money with this, have fun with it, and still work towards that bigger goal. So let's go ahead and hop in and take a closer look at Instacart earnings. So the first batch that I want to take a look at is a batch that I picked up on February 15th, and I made a total of just over $26 on this batch, working for just under an hour. I picked up the batch at a Whole Foods in Linwood, and as you can see here, the tip was a little bit over $6, which is a pretty nice tip. The mileage payout was a total of just over 9 miles for 60 cents per mile. So that's, if you do the math on that, I think that adds up to like a little over $5 just for the mileage payout, making the batch payout a bit over $14. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this hourly earnings, and it was a nice tip. The customer was also very nice, fun to talk to, and it was only 11 items. So, the total work done here was not a lot, and it was definitely one of the easier batches I've had. The second batch that I also want to take a look at has a total payout of just over $24, and I spent a little over an hour, about an hour and 20 minutes doing this batch. It was definitely a good batch. The batch payment for the Instacart payout was $17 plus a $7 tip from the customer. So once again, a pretty nice tip here. And if we go to a little bit further breakdown of how this batch worked out, it was a total of about 20 items. And I picked it up kind of here in North Seattle and delivered it ultimately to Shoreline, where the customer's address was. There's a couple other things that kind of break down the earnings. There was a quality bonus as well as a peak bonus that are kind of built into that. Those together combined for $5. I drove a total of about 5 miles, so at 60 cents per mile, that comes out to about $3 just for the distance traveled. And overall, this is another good payout that I'm definitely happy with on the Instacart platform. And I'm showing you two of my better payouts, I would say, for single batches. I've definitely had some lower payouts in the $10 to $15 range that didn't work as well. So I've kind of adapted my strategy just to kind of focus on these higher payout batches if at all possible. And another thing to note is that on some of these lower batch payouts, these were paid out before earnings adjustments were made to the payment system with Instacart. So I've actually had some updated payment adjustments that have come in to supplement those past earnings. So I want to go ahead and take a look at exactly what's happened to the Instacart payout system and what changes have been made. So in Instacart's new payment system, two of the big features that I really like are that tips never kind of count towards the Instacart batch guarantees. And it's nice to see these separately so that you really feel that those tips are an adequate bonus on top of what you're already earning. And another big thing here is the minimum batch guarantees for full service and partial service deliveries. And the cool thing here is that full service deliveries are now paying minimum guarantees of between $7 and $10, and that's determined by where you're shopping for Instacart. Previously, these were as low as $3, so that's a nice boost there. And retroactive payments are being made for any time that your batch incentive plus the mileage bonus did not add up to a total of $10. And that's for a time period from about October of 2018 to I believe February of 2019. So if you were shopping during that period, you should be notified that you were receiving that retroactive payment, and you should see it in your shopper app. I'll actually pull up an example right here to show you a couple payments that I received retroactively from Instacart. Overall, I'm very impressed with the changes that Instacart has made to their payout structure, and I hope this kind of paves the way for other on-demand services because I've done a lot of work with Amazon Flex, DoorDash, and Postmates. And I will say that Instacart is by far the most transparent right now. And that's something that I really appreciate as a shopper on the platform. Now let's take a look at my personal strategy for shopping on the Instacart platform. And I want to take a look at some strategies that have kind of been suggested by other Instacart shoppers that I actually don't agree with. And one of those is waiting in the parking lot or near a grocery store to kind of get more orders. It is true that you will pick up more orders if you're close to a grocery store, but spending too much time waiting around is really going to hurt your earnings more than it's going to help you out. And the way that you can supplement this is by using other on-demand apps to kind of take orders while you're waiting in between. There's a good chance that when you're picking up an order on Postmates or Amazon Flex or maybe even DoorDash, that you're going to be around a suburban area where there are grocery stores, so you don't have to worry too much about being close. Now, I recommend using an app that doesn't hurt you if you're not accepting orders. And so Postmates is a good one for that reason, because you can decline as many orders as you want and you're still going to be all right. They're not going to fire you for this. And that's cool because you can pick up Postmates orders while you're not working for Instacart. But if you're on Instacart and a Postmates order comes your way, there's absolutely no problem with sending this to the side. Amazon Flex I actually recommend above Postmates because the payout in my personal experience has been a lot higher. And so oftentimes I'll be on Amazon Flex and just have Instacart going on the side. I like to try and keep my Instacart acceptance rate up because this is also a factor in receiving more orders. So if I receive an Instacart offer, I definitely take that ahead of Amazon Flex or Postmates. And that's totally cool with both of these services because neither one of them is going to kind of penalize me for rejecting their orders. I do try and keep my Instacart acceptance rate up on the platform, and this is important to me, but it's definitely not something I focus on too much. So if it doesn't look like I'm going to get paid out above $15 for a batch, I don't accept that and I don't spend my time there because it's definitely not a good use of my time. So Instacart does kind of prioritize shoppers who have a higher acceptance rate, and you're more likely to get more batches down the road. But if you subject yourself to a lot of low earnings with kind of low paying batches, then it's not really worth getting more batches. So it's better off to kind of just take the best batches and some of the medium payout batches, but not focus on the small payout batches. Instead, kind of supplement your earnings with another on-demand service. I hope this cleared up any of the questions that you might have had about the Instacart payout model. And if you were looking at signing up for Instacart, you can go ahead and use my link down below. There may potentially be a sign-up bonus involved for using that link. And while you're down there, leave a comment on the video because I'd love to hear what you thought about the Instacart payment system, what your experience has been, and any other thoughts that you might have. As always, make sure that you hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and show me a little bit of love.